no ring death match, it's not a lot of guys are into that stuff, and I feel like that's even starting to run its course. Like Casanova created a cool little thing, but I feel like it's starting to become like, okay, I mean, really, for the most part, no one's going to do something insane and take a crazy ass fucking bump. And then the no piece guys kind of elevated that, where guys were taking crazy bumps on solid concrete or whatever that stage was in the floor. And I think it kind of like, all right, this was a cool thing for a couple of years, and now what's next? And
it reminds me a lot of like shock rock, like where, you know, someone like Alice Cooper came onto the scene and everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's doing crazy things. Nothing can top it. And then years after the fact, you know, like Marilyn Manson came out and everyone's, oh my God, Marilyn Manson, no one can top this. And then you have someone like Rammstein come on, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, you're at the point now with like shock rock, where like the only thing that could shock somebody, if you like someone like live murders someone on stage. Whereas like shock rock as a music genre has become complacent. Nothing shocking anymore, especially in this day and age, where it's like deathmatch wrestling, again, has fallen into complacency. It's not a showcase. It's not something leading up to it anymore. Same thing with like intergender wrestling. You know, it's complacent. It's common. It's not as surprising and built up as it used to be. So a lot of the stuff, it's hard to top it, and it's hard to make it special and feel special as like fans, and even you know, some of the wrestlers that do it, again, like even Kaide, where it's just like, yeah, it's cool, I get, like, you know, there's nothing that makes that passion for it passionate again.
And the you know, the bigger issue for me, you know, that Foxy brought up a good point that completely I overlooked. Like when I started, you know, well, when I was in the midst of doing death matches full time and mainly doing them, that's when these shows started of like just every match was a death match. And even if it's like, well, we're just going to use light tubes, or we're just going to use chair, whatever it is, it still becomes like it. Not just
it's a super kick now, in a sense. Like every match has a super kick. It's like
the fans can only, I mean, like, let's be honest, a human being can only bleed so many different fucking ways. And it becomes like, you get to the point where it's like, what the fuck else can you do? Like the fans become desensitized to where, you know, even when CCW first started, like seeing a light bulb getting broken was a big deal. Going through a pane of glass was a big deal. Now it's like, and like I saw,
but even then, back then with CZW, not every
match did it.
Had a death match. Not every match was like this ultra violent shit.
Yeah,
like the shit that went viral was the shit that they did, which was, you know what I mean.
And now the viral stuff, like I think it was the kid Slade, and I don't know if he's a kid, but Slade and Hoodfoot, they did like legit, he was stabbing him like with the broken light tube, and it's like, and that's my thing. It's like, all right, this is it's wrestling. Yes, it's very, very, very real because of what weapons and gimmicks and what have you we're using, but you're stabbing somebody. There's no, and it's different with Masada Skewers because yes, there is an element of like, yes, that's really going into your head, but it's not going to do severe damage. And that's crazy to say, and that's probably the deathmatch part of me. But it's not gonna like.
It's not like a shanking. It's not a jailhouse shanking.
You're not gonna put an artery. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Even going back to like the Raver situation, that wasn't intentional. That was a freak accident. Gage's incident was a freak accident. These guys are now legit stab. It's like I saw Madman Pondo in Tremont. He threw a cinder block at the side of Pondo's head with a light tube. Looks great visually, but how do you there's no protection. And I've done dumb things, and I'm not shitting on it, but looking back, and it's just like, where are you gonna go? You know, ICW, these shows, they're very well received, and everyone loves them. I get it, but you're wrestling in a ring with no ropes, okay, but that's every match. So it becomes essentially, what else can you do? And me looking at it, not knocking anything, but if I was a fan, I'd be like, all right, I mean, how many times are you going to watch the fucking sword swallower swallow the same sword over and over and over? And that's what I think the problem is. And it becomes, you know, like
the crowd becomes desensitized to it.
And it loses. Like and then you have guys and girls killing themselves and there are some matches that are fucking bangers that get no reaction, or they don't get the reaction they should because they watched all this insanity leading up to it, and they're like, all right, cool, what are you gonna do now? You're gonna cut your head off? All right, well, I just saw this guy cut his finger. And I think that's the problem, but that's me. So what do I know anymore?
But it's like with that well, I think it was Carnage Cup last year, or might have been the year before, sorry, where like some dude like chopped the tip of his finger off in the fucking ring in this.
Exactly.
And there's probably like not even 100 people in the crowd. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
And that's, and it's funny because I always would get told by the older guys, you're going to, what I'm saying is what they told me. And now I understand it. But when you're young and you want to make a name for yourself and you want to get out there, you put it on the line. And hopefully you get lucky like I did. I got lucky where it hit and I got to go around and create a buzz for myself. And then there's some guys that it never happens for. And, you just got to do what you got to do and just go out there. And, the benefit that I had was I had a very good wrestling background and training wise. And there's a lot of guys that unfortunately they can't either get out of the bubble of deathmatch wrestling. Like a guy like Alex Colon. Alex can wrestle with the best of them. Alex is a hell of a wrestler. But he got stuck in that stigma because that's what was getting him all over the world. And I'm super happy for Alex. I love Alex. But Alex is much, much, much more than just a deathmatch guy. And I hope he gets to show that. Same thing with Masada. When people think of Masada, they think deathmatch. But Masada can out-wrestle 90% of the people that are still going today. He was trained with Bryan Danielson. He has the same pedigree.
Well, that's the thing a lot of people don't understand about Masada. He was actually trained by Shawn Michaels. He's, you know what I mean? And also he's a legitimate badass. And I think as well, like when people look at someone like a Masada, they go, oh, just a big dumb rocker, deathmatch wrestler dude. Like I've interviewed him, very intelligent guy, very, very well spoken and very articulate as well. So like, I feel like that's the prime example of don't judge a book by the fucking cover.
Dude, another guy that's, you got Drake Younger, who is, put aside his political opinions and all that. Drake's a hell of a worker. Even you talk to Necro Butcher, Necro ain't exactly going to be listed as like a Ricky Steamboat in terms of wrestling, but you speak to him, he's a smart, well-educated, very articulate person. And, Necro's another guy that wouldn't need to do death matches. Necro's an attraction in his own right. You know what I'm saying?
100%. But I feel like now, like seeing some of the stuff that Necro does, it looks like he's doing more of like the gimmick work and stuff like that and going down that path.
MAGA Butcher, whatever he's called.
But you know what? Like, I find that fucking hilarious. And then put him with like Jasmine St. Clair and like, I'm not sure who the other guy is. Like I've only just sort of started.
I think it's, look, XPW is as close to what ECW was in terms of touching the nerve. And again, we live in this political times where if you're a MAGA, if you're pro-Trump or whatever, you're labeled all this stuff. And if you're, a left-wing, whatever, it's just, look, I think it's great. I think MAGA Butcher is with that's his name. I think it's hilarious. He's wearing red, white, and blue Zubaz. And he actually looks like, from watching that thing, he actually looks like he's been hitting the gym. He actually looks halfway like he's getting in shape, which is a scary thought for like Necro Butcher to be in shape.
But it's good to see where he came, like how he's bounced back, because he looked like so sick for a while, man. Like I remember, like I think it was 2019 when he got inducted into the Combat Zone Wrestling Hall of Fame, and he looked like he was like he's like 40. I think he's like